Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, June 15th, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there that is a father. Happy Father, especially to my father, who I will be going over to see in a little while. And let's see. Let me see what else. It is, so I said it's June 15th, 2025. Here in the Northeast, it's supposed to be summer. It's not. Got my sweatshirt on. Got my jeans, got my sweatshirt on. It's cold. It's cold and yucky. Well, the sun is out, so there's that. So we have sun, but yeah, it's still pretty cool. Good morning, Louise. Thank you for joining. Good morning. So yeah, so it's cold and kind of poopy, but that's all right. I'll be crafting until it warms up, and then I'm gonna go out and sit on the deck in the sun. So how have you guys all been? If you are here, you are watching live, leave me a comment. Let me know you are here. So for those of you who may be new to my channel, I am Tina Bickford. I am the Tatted Stamper. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Here in the US. I am located in southeastern New Hampshire. Let me see. Anything else? You all know me. You all know me. All right. So today we're going to do a card that, so I've been seeing it a lot. A lot of people have been doing it. And so I wanted to jump on that bandwagon, I guess. So it's a really cool card. It's super easy. I watched a couple of other card making tutorial videos on, so I would get a couple of different people's perspective on how to make it, because I've not made one. I had not made one yet. There's actually a couple of different ways to do the bottom of this card. So I'm going to do it, I don't know, whichever way I do it. So, yeah, let's switch down to the desk camera. Find the button. It's going to be one of those days, I guess. There, okay. So we're going to be using, we need a piece of basic white cardstock. I'm going to be using, so these are not, ring light, sorry about that. These are not Stampin' Up! Dies. These are dies that I've had in my craft stash for some time. Stampin' Up! Does have nested rectangle dies. I don't know the name of them off the top of my head, but they do. If you are interested, I'm sure most of you who craft have these in your craft room already. We are going to be using the Impressions of Bloom, and the only thing I'm really going to be using out of you guys have seen me do, like, I love these flowers. This one is my favorite. But I want to just use the sentiment stamp that says thanks. So that's what I'm going to be using from there. I'm going to be using some Lost Lagoon ink that will set up there and out of the way, because those of you who watch me know that I will be covered in the Lost Lagoon ink before the end of this video for sure. And I am going to be using some Lost Lagoon. This is just a piece of scrap Lost Lagoon that we're going to use for some die cutting, and the Floral Impressions Designer Series paper. So you guys have seen me go through this pack before. Is all these gorgeous floral colors, like rainbow colors of flowers. Oh, it's so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Good morning, Jamandi, from British Columbia, Rocky Mountains. Oh, welcome. And good morning, Renee. Thank you for joining. So with this Designer Series paper, I'm actually going to be using the muted side for this design here. And then I actually already went through and I fussy got some flowers out because I wanted to use some flowers. And you guys did not want to see me fussy cut, and you don't want to hear all of the bad words that came out of my mouth while I was doing that, because you know I don't love fussy cutting, but I wanted those flowers for this project. So actually, while I'm thinking about it, not only Happy Father's Day, I don't know if he's watching, but if he is watching, I would like to just give a big happy birthday shout out to Ken today. Ken, if you're watching, happy birthday to you. All right, so what else are we going to be using? So I'm also going to be using the beautiful MOTIFS dies. So if you guys have not seen these yet, I just finally got a good, by doing this card, this is the first time I've had a real play with these dies. Super, super fun. So these two here will actually cut out the whole design. These three do partial cuts. And wait, you'll see what I mean. Maybe you've already seen a bunch of videos on these already, and I'm just late to the party, which is also fine. It's okay to be late to the party. I'm going to be using this die right here. I'm also going to be using this one. This is the die that I'm using on my Lost Lagoon. So my Lost Lagoon scrap only needs to be big enough to cut for that die. I'm going to pull that one out and use that. So, all right. Are you guys ready? Oh my goodness. This card, I made so many of them. So I have, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have like six alternates to show you. Yay. All right. Try to remember to do this. Now, I do have the project sheet all done for this. It will be in the description of this video as soon as I end the video. There's a link to the downloadable PDF. So you will have that. I am going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to bring in my 8.5 by 11 basic white cardstock. So I will say that you guys, so those of you who have been watching for a while, I do like to maximize my cardstock, and I like to try to make at least 2 cards out of every 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. You know, that's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen unless you just have a bunch of other scraps you can pull in for this. But you're going to get, it's basically, if you're just starting from scratch and you have no scraps, you're going to use a whole sheet for this card. All right, so we're going to take along the 8.5 inch side, and we're just going to cut that at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to line that up with my 4 1/4, and I'm going to take my cutting blade, which is down at the bottom. Oh, you can't see it, down at the bottom. And I'm just going to cut up towards that. It's got a little ridge that sits against. It helps keep the cardstock straight and not move. So I'm just going to cut right up against that. And then I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to rotate my now 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to score that in half at 5 1/2 along that 11 inch side. Give that a good score. Okay. And then I'm going to give that a good burnish there too. This card, I will say, all of the videos that I watched, everybody, all of the demonstrators doing it were very specific about making sure that you burnish your scores, your folds really well. And there's a reason for that. It really does make the card function the way it needs to. Okay. So now we're going to need a piece of white cardstock. So we're going to pull right from here, and you want a piece that is 3 inches. So I'm going to take so you want a piece that is 3 inches by 4 1/8. So this is already 4 1/4. I'm going to cut this down to 3. along that 11-inch side. And then I'm just going to rotate it and put this at 4 1/8. So I'm just trimming a little 1/8 of an inch off of this. So I have that. We have that piece there. And then we're going to need one piece that is 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to get 2.5 inches out of here. So I'm just going to cut this at the 1.5. And then I'm going to rotate it and cut that at 2.5. Like so. And then I'm just going to set that aside. And then we need a piece of our designer series paper. I've already cut this to size. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is going to be our layering piece for the front of our card. Oh, I did this one. Sorry. This one is 4 by 5 1/4 because I did it with a little bit wider a border around all of the sides. So there. So we have all of that cut, and let's get, oh no, I'm going to pull this back in. We have a little bit more scoring to do. So let's do all of our scoring first. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece that we have that is 1.5 by 2.5, and along that 1.5 inch, I'm going to score that right in half. So that's going to be at the 3/4. Now what's cool about this, good morning, Beth from Southwest Virginia. Thank you for joining. This has measurements up to 1.5 inches on this side of the cutting blade, and then obviously this one. So you can see when you place it in the middle that it's 3/4 of an inch on each side. Cool. Love it. Love it. We'll put that down. I'm going to hold my, I'm holding my cutting track. You know, I'm holding it down with I'm holding it down firm so that my paper doesn't move. So I just have that, and I'm just going to fold that in half, and we'll give that a good burnish too. And we're going to take this piece that is our 3 inches by 4 1/8, and we're going to put that 3-inch side up along the top of our our paper trimmer, and we are going to score this at every 1/2 inch. Okay. So 1/2 inch, 1 inch. You guys don't need me to count all of this for you. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and then there. And I'm just going to move that down there. And one more. Like so. All right. Now we can take that paper trimmer and get that out of the way. And let's do our fold and burnish. So take this and let's give that a really good burnish. This piece we're going to accordion fold. So we're just going to, and it really doesn't matter which way you start because you have 6 even sections, so it's going to be the same either way. I start with a mountain fold. I think I'm just inclined to do so. Like so and like so. And then we're going to give this a really good burnish. I'm just holding it all down. I'm just going to give it all a really good burnish at the same time. Now you can, now that's pretty good. Like I'm able to do that pretty good. You can do each fold individually. You can flip it over, do all of them here. I think I got it pretty good because it's pretty tight. Okay. All right. So you can see if I had started with a valley fold, I would have a valley here, then mountain valley, but I still end up with the same exact shape. Okay. Boom, boom. We'll set that aside. All right. Now let's set those aside. On our card base, we're going to take our designer series paper and we're going to put this on the front. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the let me see, some of the tips that I got from watching the other videos. So I watched a demonstrator by the name of Claire Otta something. I can't remember her, Claire Otta. I think that was her name, Claire Otta. And she did, when she put the designer series paper on, she put glue or adhesive all over the whole thing, including the center. So when we go on to the next step, your designer series paper is on, is adhered to the white part that we die cut. I watched another video from Creative Moments by G, where she did just adhesive. No, I think she did. I think she just did it on the outside. So her designer series paper. Oh no, she did. She did glue all on the whole thing too. So when she die cut it, but then she pulled in a separate piece of white cardstock. I'm going to save a step there. I'm just going to put adhesive along the perimeter of my designer series paper, put it on, and then when we cut it, I'm going to be able to separate the two. Yeah, Louise, it's Ottaway. It's Create the Ottaway is the name of her channel. But I believe her name is Claire Otta. Let me see. Adhesive. All right, let's get my glue. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to, I want this side. I don't want to use this one. This one's too busy. So I'm going to go ahead and put, hello, Carol. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so we're just going to put adhesive along the outside perimeter of this. I'm not going to put any on the inside. And I am going to, now with this one, because I'm using the other side, it is not directional. It does not matter where which direction I put it on. It just matters that I have it centered and nice and even spacing on all four sides. Voila. Okay. Boop, boop, like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and take one of my rectangle dies. Now, the way I chose the size die I did, I'll just show you. I had a couple of choices to choose, like this size or this size. I'm going to be using a piece on the inside panel that I'm going to fit this on. So I wanted this to fit on my inside panel. This one seems too small because it overlaps here. It just seems too small. So I decided to go with a larger one. I will also tell you that some of the alternates that I have, I didn't do just rectangles. I used other shapes. So you're gonna see how I did that. And I have ideas for using even more shapes. So stay tuned to my Facebook page when I post all of the alternates over there, because I will be doing different shapes too. Okay, so because I'm choosing a die that takes up most of this card front, I want to make sure that I am leaving enough space on the bottom for my bottom mechanism. So remember, we scored this at every 1/2 inch. This is going to be glued to the bottom of our card. So I just want to make sure that I'm leaving at least the 1/2 inch. Now, when I watched the video from Claire, her piece was put right at the bottom edge. She didn't mention to leave any space. When I watched the video by G, she left about 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. And I will tell you that the card I made where I did that actually stands much better. So I want to make sure that I leave not just the 1/2 inch. I want to leave at least the 1/2 inch plus that 1/8 of an inch. So I want to make sure when I'm putting my die in here, I'm going to have enough room for this piece at the bottom with a little bit of space. I don't want this piece to show through my opening. So I'm going to just kind of be aware of that when I put that on there. And you can use a ruler. I think in the project sheet, I had a ruler so and I took a really close-up picture so that you could see, because we've already got this cut and folded, we just kind of place that there and place our die where we want it, side to side, make sure it's straight. And then we're just going to tack that down with some low tack tape there. Okay. I am going to pull in my die cutting machine and we're going to just do some die cutting. All right. I am using, because we're using dies, you guys have seen me do this a million times. Well, not a million, but I mean close, right? Close. Hi, Lynn and Teresa. How are you? Base plate 1, thin die adapter 2, one of your die cutting plates number 3, and then your project, and then your second number 3 plate. So this has a really a decent sized long straight edge. So I'm just going to twist it a little bit. What that means though, is the way that I have this, because this card is, especially is lengthwise, I am not going to be able to roll this all the way through, because if I do, then my card, because it's at an angle, my card will hang off the edge here, and it get all torn up on the side. So I'm going to roll it through halfway and then roll it back. Okay, so I'm just going to twist this a little bit, making sure it's not overhanging here, and making sure that from the point that I'm die cutting, which is right here, that this is also not overhanging. Okay, do this, put that second plate on, and just roll that through. Now, you don't have to do that. You can roll it through straight, but if you roll it through straight, all right, so I'm trying, this is overhanging a little bit here, and I have gotten a little bit too close to that. So I'm just gonna roll, I'm gonna back that back out. Because I have my die taped down, I'm gonna be able to just, oop, come on. I'm gonna be able to just twist that a little bit so that I'm not, my die didn't move. So I'm just gonna roll that back through. And no big clunk. Come on back through there. Let's just set that aside. And then I want to take my piece of, my scrap piece of Lost Lagoon, and I'm just going to put this piece on here, this die, and roll that through. Okay. Now let's grab our stuff. Side. All right, so we have this very delicate die. We'll punch that out with our take your pick tool. This one here, we have our card front. Now, because I ran that through straight, I'm going to give this another really good burnish right here, just to make sure we have that nice and flat. Now, because I didn't put adhesive all over the DSP, I have the separate piece of DSP and white. I'm going to use this for a different project. So I'm just going to set that aside. Set my die aside. And we're going to use this piece here. And we are not done with our cutting machine. So we're just going to pop this out. Oh, I have this one. I have this take your pick with my little die brush on there. So just roll that through. All those little pieces out. and then poke this out. This die is very delicate. Like so, and I just got one little piece here. I got to get out of there. There. So we have that piece there. Beautiful. All right, one last piece with the die cutting machine. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece that we die cut out of the card front, and this is that die that does the partial cut. So I'm just going to lay this on there where I want it, and I'm going to grab just a little piece of washi tape here, or it's not washi, it's low-tack tape, and I'm just going to put that where it's just going to keep that die in place for me. I'm going to bring this back in, and I have it kind of at an angle on that white piece of cardstock. That's going to give me some space for my sentiment. Roll that through. And then we're going to just gently lift this die. You are not going to get a removable piece. Okay. This is what that does. Little partial. Heading off to church. Have a great day, Renee. Thank you so much for coming while you were here. I hope you come back and watch a little later after church. So I'm just going to come in here and just gently lift all of those to give that just a little bit of lift there. I'm not looking to do, I don't want it to pop right out. I just want it to be subtle. So one of the things with this that you can do too, you can take like a Post-it. You have a Post-it, you can kind of stick it underneath. You can do a little bit of blending to give those some color if that's what that's what you like. I want it to be white. I'm going to put all of my color is going to be in the flowers. Okay, so I am going to come back here now with my card base. I'm going to just, let me see, I'm not quite ready with my card base yet. Let's stamp. All right, grab a block, and I just have the word thanks here. I'm going to take my Lost Lagoon, and I'm just going to stamp that sentiment right up here in the corner. So, all right, now I'm going to come in with my little die cuts here. All right, what I did, I actually took this, where are my snips? I actually took this die cut and I cut little pieces off of it so that I could, pick and choose where I put. So you can do, you can do, like, this is the one that I ended up putting here. I put this one right here. So that's what we'll do. And then this one, now on one of the sample card I made for this with the same exact style, I actually die cut another piece out of the, so I die cut one of these darker ferns out, but let me just tell you, that wasn't fun. That's where I think most of the naughty words were coming from. So I decided that I wasn't going to do that again. I'm going to just use one of these. So what I'm going to do is I want an element to just kind of look like it's coming out from the card, like this down at the bottom. I think this is a little bit too much right here. It comes into the window of the card too much. So I'm going to trim some of that off. So we're just going to come in and trim there and there. And then because this looks awkward, this little piece here, I'm just going to come in here and just trim this little awkward piece off like so. Now you can come in here, you can trim these dies up any way you want. So I'm going to take this one and maybe add it to this somehow. So what I'm going to do here, I want to add this down here in the corner, like so. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'm just going to pop it on just a couple of these littler leaves right here. And I'm just going to tuck it. So it's really only going to be glued right here on, oops, if it sticks, stick, there. I just want a little small element because this is going to be in the center, so I don't want this to take away from too much of what's going on the inside. So we will just do that. And we can, you know, if you wanted to, you could put another one over here. You've got other little pieces that you could use over there. So let's just set that little. All right, now let's put this together. So what I did here, I'm putting this on here. I'm kind of lining up where the stems are, and I know it's going to be on some of this lifted part. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not going to glue it down. I'm not going to put glue on all of it. I'm just taking some of these pieces, adding a little bit of glue so that some of them are glued, but it's going to stand up. It's dimensional. It's delicate, but it is going to be a pretty. Okay. So then I'm going to take this flower. Now what I did with this one on my sample is I just came in and kind of tucked it in here. You do want to make sure that wherever you put it, the glue is not going to seep out the back. Okay, so there's that. And then this one here, I put this one on with a dimensional. So we will do that. And I just use mini dimensionals for this one. Like so. And I want this one down here. I don't want this flower to overhang. So I don't want any of my elements to overhang this tag. So I'm just going to come in here and strategically place that like so. And then I used a dimensional on this one also, this little guy, and I just put him up here. Oops, there. So we have our little tag. Cute. All right, now I'm done with that one. Now I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to come in this little piece that we had that was 2.5 by 1.5, scored and folded really good. Make sure that that is really good. Put your adhesive on one side, and then that is going to go on here. Now, where I put the adhesive, I did try to stay up close to the top where the fold is. Part of that is because we have these open cuts here. I also didn't put adhesive right on the very end because I don't want that adhesive to come through those open cuts. So this piece is just going to come up here towards the top. I found that if I put it right at the very top, my panel didn't float as nicely or freely. So I'm just putting it down a little bit. Just make sure it's as straight as you can get it. With these stitch dies, what I did was I just found I put it where just under the stitching, and that made it really good. So there's that. Okay. And then we're going to put adhesive on the other side of that. And we're going to fit this in. So I'm just going to slide that bottom in because I want to slide it under this element. Now, could I have done this after? Sure. But I liked putting that on there first. So you can do whatever you want. And I'm just fitting this back. You'll hold this card down. Now I'm holding this up because I don't want that adhesive to catch quite yet. I'm positioning this tag so it's right exactly in the same spot it came out of. And then just press down so that your tag is on the inside. So now you've got your tag on the inside of that card. Okay, boom. All right, now we're going to take our piece. This is the piece that, so this one is the one that I'm kind of on the fence about with which way it goes. So one of the demonstrators did it so that it was on the card this way, so that this center V was down, the channel was down, and the other demonstrator did it so that it was this way, so that there were actually two like V channels down. I like it this way better, and I'll tell you why. So the reason, so the ones that I found where I did it the other way, where I did it this way, I found that because the card, when it opens like a tent. So this piece is going to be like this. The front and the back panels are going to be at this angle. You want them to be, not at this angle. So the card sits a little bit funny. Doing it this way is just the natural way that card is going to sit this way on this piece. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it. So when I tell you that that's how I'm doing it so that when we put this on, we're going to put adhesive here, and we're going to make sure that it's the open edge, not the scored edge, that is down near the edge of the card. Okay, and I am going to put this on with my seal, oops, and get seal all over my mat. All right, so there is my open edge. I'm going to open my card, move my little tag out of the way, and my open edge is going to be down. So open edge down towards there. And I'm just want to make sure that when I put this on, it is about 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom, but centered as much as you can from side to side. Remember, we cut this at, come on, we cut it at 4/8 of an inch. The card is we cut this at 4 1/8. The card is 4 1/4. So you should have a 1/16 of an inch on each side. So I'm just going to come in and put this down like so. And it does not interfere with my tag, so you can see that it doesn't interfere with that tag at all. That tag still flows nice and freely. That is what you want. So I'm going to come in now with my seal and put adhesive on this other side, like so. I'm going to hold this down nice and firm, and I'm just going to close this card. And when I do, I'm making sure that this card closes nice and evenly, and then press firmly right there, and voila, you have your card. Little floating panel on the inside. Cute. Love it. So it's hard to see, but when you stand the card up, that panel, well, I guess you can see it a little bit. That panel just kind of floats back and forth. And because it's got two little channels and it doesn't hit that center, it flows nice and freely right in there. So you just want to make sure if you're using a die that is wider or longer than this and you have less space down here, then this piece you have to just modify to accommodate that. You don't want this piece to be seen through here, and you don't want it to interfere with this panel swinging. So there is our card. So I can always take these. So now I have this card and I can see where everything is. If I wanted to, I could put some, I could put some more in here. I could put some more of these things in here, and maybe I'll do that after the video. So yeah, and you can put, if you have gems that you want to put on here, you can put some gems on here. You can put anything you want. I'm bending this card, sorry. It stands really nice. The first one I made, I didn't put that down, I didn't leave that 1/8 of an inch down here. And the card kind of rocks a little bit because it's also the one where the center point is in the bottom. So it rocks a little bit. I found that this specific design and technique really worked the best for having this card stand properly. So there is our card right there. All right, let me pull in some of my alternates, get that cleared. All right, so this is actually the one that I did. This was my inspiration card. It's a little bit flatter because I actually had all of these, because they do take up a lot of space with that accordion mechanism. So I had a bunch of blocks sitting on them to kind of flatten them out. So there's that one. And for this one, you can see I actually tucked a little half flower. This was, I fussy cut it out from the paper. That's all it is. It had this little flat edge right there. There's nothing tucked under there. So I used that little piece from the edge of the designer series paper. So there's that. And then I did one exactly like that, but I used die cut flowers instead of fussy cutting, because after I fussy cut these ones, I said, I'm not fussy cutting anymore. But then I didn't, I like this one, but I like this one better. So let me know which one you like better. I like this one the best. This element right here, I thought was the color was a little bit too harsh for all of the soft colors that were in the card. So I like that Lost Lagoon on there a little bit better. There's that one. And then let me just grab these others. So of course, this was the first one that I did. So you can see I did it with a much wider, with much wider mountains and valleys. And this was the other piece. So because when Claire did hers, she put this piece on first. So she did the tent. She did the designer series paper, cut this out. The designer series paper is attached because that was all glued. And then she put this piece on. And then she put a piece of designer series paper on the back, which helps to cover that little seam. I put an embossed piece of white cardstock using the exposed brick. And this is really old. Well, I'm not old. Designer series paper is retired. I think it's retired. It's Forever Love. I think I've had it for a really long time, so I don't know. So there's that. And this just, same thing. This panel just floats on the inside. Little die cuts from the Pretty Florals. Added a little bit of Winkostella on the bottom of the flower. It's not really coming in very well with that. So there's that one there. And then, of course, I had to do one with the latest paper pumpkin. So there's that one. That one just kind of swings. And all I did for this one is I just put the tree up on dimensionals. I used the Forever Plaid in the back here. Now, in hindsight, for this one, I probably would have used a darker piece of cardstock for the bottom. Like closes like that. I would have used, because it looks like, it looks like, I don't know. So I might do that for the next one. I might do that. And I used the textured notes dies for that one, for that rectangle there. And then of course I had to use my arches. So this is actually the second one I did with the arches. And I used the blueberry bushel paper. This is one like for the video that G did, where she actually made a frame around her. What she did a rectangle, but she made a frame. So I thought I would do just a small thin frame with the arches like that. This is the other die from that Botanical Textures. Is it Botanical Textures? Is that what no, Beautiful Motifs. Sorry. That's the other die that cuts completely out there. And I just put the little butterflies on there. And this is, it's the same thing. It wiggles back and forth. Now, because the curved piece of this shape is at the top, which is where that little tab is. The tab is down a little bit lower, and it doesn't move as freely as the other one does. These ones do. But I also did one with the arch upside down. That gets the straight edge up here. It allows for that tag to move a little bit freer. And this is just some of the older paper. And so this is when I said, you want to make sure that your bottom piece doesn't extend past whatever space you have down here. This is why, because when I close, if that tag is not in front of, so this is that same where the point is down at the bottom. If it's not in front of this mountain, you can see that. And I didn't really like that. So I would probably go the other way. And this one, same thing, it rocks. This one I used the embossing folder on the back. I do like the whole embossing folder thing on the back and all of that. I do like all of that. I'm going to have more of a play with this style, but I found this having this point in the center kind of made it rock a little bit. Unless, you could always put it up more. If you put it up more, then you have to bring this up, because see, every time I close this card, and I think, which this one was the same way. So you open the card, but every time you close it, it falls into that. It falls behind that. So yeah, I like this style better, where you're coming in with the mountain is up at the top. So there are all of the alternates and the cards. Yay, a lot of them. I had a lot of fun doing this one. For the one with the trees, okay, so Louise is saying, for the one with the trees, don't redo, just add some strips of the colors you want in the accordion section. Very good idea. I think I might do that. Thank you, Louise. I like that idea. Because don't you agree? It just looks like, I don't know. So I'm thinking I was thinking the blue or the pool party, adding it down there. Great, great. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Yes, I'm just looking at everybody's comments, and yay. All right, so let me switch back to my other camera here. I am. So if you guys have a play with these cards, and you want, I'll post all of the cards and the alternates over on my Facebook page, probably later on today or even tomorrow. Feel free to post a picture of your cards on that post, and I'd love to see them. And yeah, so I'm going to have as soon as I end this video, I'm going to go ahead and put I'll update the description of the video so you can get to that project sheet if you want it. It's got all of the links in the description where you can follow me on Facebook. You can join my Pinterest board and post your pictures there. What else does it have there? If you want to shop with me, there's a link to shop with me there. And yeah, so okay. So for those of you, I don't know, maybe you guys don't know, but so my husband and I actually ride motorcycles. Yes, I do ride my own motorcycle. And this week is Laconia Motorcycle Week. It actually starts today and it goes through next weekend. So next weekend, I am planning on still having a video on Sunday, and we're planning on going up to Laconia on Saturday. We're planning on riding up there Saturday, but we have been in this streak of rainy Saturdays, so it's entirely possible and that if we get rain next Saturday, that we're going to be going up on Sunday. And if that's the case, I will record a video to air during the same, 10 a.m. Sunday. But hopefully we'll break that rainy Saturday streak and get some nice weather on Saturday. It looks good so far, but I need to knock on as much wood as possible for that. So hopefully we'll be going up there Saturday, and I will be here with you guys making some great cards on Sunday. Okay, until then, thank you all so much for joining me. I had a great time. This is a really fun card. I'm glad that, it's been popping up on all of my Facebook feeds and my Pinterest feeds. It's popping up everywhere. So I said, well, it must be a sign. I have to do it. I have to try it. So I did, and had a lot of fun with it, and look forward in the future to just different shapes. I want to do circles. I want to do ovals. I want to do different shapes for that little panel. And yeah, so we'll see. Stay tuned for all of that. Until then, I will see you guys. Oh, thank you, Lynn. And weather permitting, we will. It's actually technically the first ride of our season. We took a small ride around like the 3 towns that we live near, this, the Tri-City area here. It wasn't very much of a ride, but it's a long ride for us to go up to Laconia. So, it'll be a it'll be a long ride. My butt will be hurt. My butt will be sore. So I will see you all next Sunday. So have a great week. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, and come back and join me on Sunday. Okay, bye.